Oh, it's right here.
Time in February.
Cindy, I'm not as used to seeing you without glasses on. We're live. We start the meeting in case it happens again, or we're having trouble with our sound. So if it happens to go out, we do apologize. Call the meeting to order. Adoption of the agenda. We have a mover and a seconder, please.
The draft agenda presented to council and dated the 9th day of December 2025 be adopted as prepared.
David's read. Carried. Accepting the minutes from the previous meeting.
That the minutes of the regular council meeting of November 25th, 2025 be adopted as circulated.
Any discussion on this motion? See none. David's read. Carried. Business arising from the minutes. Councillor Trahan.
Yeah, just another quick update or a highlight from the Light Up the Park. It was a great night. We had approximately, Nick and I figured about 150 to a couple hundred people, I think. And just want to say a huge thanks to the staff who did just a great job in coordinating this event. And again, we had some more people. The Baytones were there singing Christmas carols. Chief Amiot for having his members look after the fires and doing the s'mores. And for the residents that also attended, huge thanks for coming out. And the ones that didn't, well, again, next year, they can come out for next year. And it was a bigger event. And we had Brandy Labonte from KRMT. She had her building open and we had some plays in there and there was hot chocolate and some people were selling some Christmas items. And also, and I think I forgot the evening, but I think the horticultural needs a little thanks too for doing some setup work prior to. So huge thanks to them also. And overall, it was just a successful evening and it was a great night for the municipality East Ferris, so all the way around.
All right, well, declaration for conflict of interest. You see none. Now we can have the announcements from council and updates. Again, we're like Councillor Trahan said, I was in a meeting at the health unit, but I came in around 7:30, 7:15, and things are still going on. The train is still running around. So again, every year we seem to get bigger and bigger. So big thanks to all our municipality and all our residents for making this happen. So anything else from announcements from council? Councillor Brazo, Councillor Roy Akers.
Yeah, so last week, Councillor Trahan and I participated in a focus group with the health unit, and that went fairly well to sort of express the needs of East Ferris. And then the Northern Ontario Municipal Series, which is run by the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, they're running some really great training for council. So again, Councillor Trahan and Madam Rose was there. So getting good information for our residents and our community. And then AMO is, so that's the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, is running a Healthy Democracy Leadership Series, which is free and have resources. So it's great training for anybody who might be interested. And next year is the election. So lots of great information out there for people.
Sure.
Yeah.
And just one more also, yeah. So on Monday, I also partaked in a AMO organized Zoom. It was mayor and CEO relationship, leadership roles in fostering production workplace culture. So it was, got in on that. It wasn't bad. So, it was a town of Kingston and that was, having that one. So it's good.
That's it. Okay, thank you. Delegations for, to council, the East Fairs Horticultural Society Year Review, Mr. James Bissonnette and Mrs. Wendy St. Denis. Please come up. We have a slideshow up on the board, Mr. Bissonnette.
Thanks.
Floor is yours. You've got 10 minutes, right?
Good, I got 20 minutes.
Jeez, you got 10.
Do you want me to go through it for you, or you want to keep one? No problem. If we can do that, I got a little bit of a hearing impairment, so if on my left ear, I can't hear right now, so sorry about that. If it affects this little presentation, I'll apologize in advance. So as you might know who I am, man here. The past president now of the East Fairs Horticultural. So I've come on behalf of our president that couldn't make it tonight. So we've been operating for 3 full years now. It's maybe a little half year in there when we got started. Basically, as you see the table of contents here, we'll go through it, but that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. A little bit what we've done, where we're going, and what we're asking for. You know, never asked enough, but you know, shoot for the moon. Anyway, so some numbers for you. So this is what we did in the past year. So anywhere from our volunteer hours, what we budgeted for, what we used. So the Memorial Park across the street, you know, we have quite a few volunteers. So this is not all the volunteer hours, but it's kind of helps you break down what we did spend on the park, how many man hours that we spent, some tools and equipment. This is to make sure that we're functioning like edgers and stuff like that we took some of our money and typically that's not the municipality's money, but budget topsoil. Other community gardens that we've put in, and then our hours on other gardens as well. We've taken on, we've created a new garden at the library. We brought in some more planters. As you can see, taking on the municipality's medical center. Planted trees, decor. You might see some decor up there now that we've done. Maintenance and treatment. Things like that. So any questions on what we've done in the thing? Any questions what we can improve on that you guys seen?
You know, they just said there's 621 hours. It's not the total hours. The last few visits never got counted. The sheets were handed in. There was only 6 people partaking in that 600, or 7 people partaking in that 621 hours.
I'm gonna have to stop you there because we're gonna have one person speaking only.
Okay. So I get what it's a summary. It's not exact. It's to give you guys an example of what we're doing. We do have a total hours, and in all fairness, like, you know, as Steve logging every time he's working for the municipality or yourself, you know, so we're giving a pretty broad spectrum. So thanks for bringing that up. So basically, this is a summary of our more or less achievements that I don't know if anyone heard of MAFA or what it stands for. Still trying to figure it out. And then OHA, that one I'm familiar with, Ontario Horticultural Association. So now we're members of that, and we had to get our articles and get approved. It helps us carry insurance, so the municipality doesn't have that burden. if any volunteers, I'm sure we're all, as volunteers, we're insured, but now this is making sure that that's taken care of as well. We had our first election, as now that we have our articles and we have policies and procedures that we're slowly continuing to grow every session. So that's where we've elected our new president. And all the seats are filled in that spot. Well, we can always have more, of course. We've had 8 meetings, had numerous presentations. And as of now, because we have to have a count into October to pay for the insurances, and even though new members come in, we're still insured and they're covered. But we have 25 active members. We anticipate, last year we had 42. We anticipate more members coming on. But this is what dues are paid, so we're not trying to powder coat anything. Participation, we did the trade show and the park light up, the carnival, stuff like that. We've created driveways bloom challenge where people would put planter boxes at their driveway and try and beautify our community. We hosted our 3rd annual harvest dinner, 100 people plus in attendance, 75 auction items over that. Really good fundraiser. We generated $15,000 that we're going to be putting back into the community at some level. Little breakdown, community events, our Facebook page and results, what kind of movement and action we're getting there. So the views, the followers, the visits, pretty much sums it up if you've taken a look at that. Any questions on those? I don't.
Well, right at the end, and
Yours are all at the end. Your questions? Yeah, good.
10 minutes.
10 minutes, I know. That's why I'm making sure there was like 18 pages. I broke it down to like just a few. Okay, in the back of that, we have our 2025 financials. Basically, Ace Fairs Horticultural Society, we budgeted for the 14.3. We actually put in 8.6. The reason I think this is low, when we take on the task, we anticipate a lot of volunteers, and maybe we ask for a bit more than we could achieve. So sometimes you set your goals a little high and miss the mark, but overall we did put quite a bit back into the community. We just anticipated doing a little bit more than we actually did. The municipality's budget, 10.5, we actually used 89, and there's still a $1,600 residual. That I think there's a couple things that didn't get done, that we have some loose ends that we want to tie up. For a grand total that went back into the community, it's 17.5. So it just helps you break down what we actually did this year. Proposed gardens for 25-26. Maintain existing gardens throughout the community. Anglers and hunters, we want to do some more garden expansion on that. Dock on the lake planters, we're going to maintain those for the municipality. Garden under the sign, so there's a sign that we want to like evolve on across the street, make it a little bit more beautiful over there, maybe fix up some people's landscape in the parking lot, stuff like that. I don't know who went and demolished the yard over there. We'll fix it for you. The municipal office, planters at the park at McPherson Drive, the library, take care of that, maintain that. Memorial Park Cenotaph as well. And then put some money back into tools and shed. We have a shed that was donated and we want to spruce that up. So those are some of the ideas that we're going to try and invest our money into and maintain the look in the community.
James, you have 2 minutes remaining.
2 minutes. Well, we better quickly go through this. Wow. Okay, new projects. The idea that we're gonna try and push forward with the horticultural is to do more outreach and programs and education. Promote the horticultural garden in the community. Membership drive, basically trying to get more activity. We're gonna involve youth in gardens, the library garden, gonna try and interact use with that. School education programs, we're looking at using our dollars to get more education out there. Participate in the home show and host our 4th annual. So there's some of our direction that we're gonna go with in this community. Draft on the budget. Basically, if you see the municipal of East Ferris, there's our ask, what we're gonna be putting the money into. I don't need to go through this on a limited time. But that's what we're gonna be putting in, if it's East Ferris Horticulture Society. And then if it's the municipality of East Ferris, that's our ask. There's all the planters that we're doing. These are all pretty much current and existing. And on the back, at the last page, we have a ask of that we're gonna be putting in 11.9 that we asked 6150 from the municipality. And we will be making all those things come true. Hopefully, some things that might be missing. Here's our budget. And the municipality, the big one across there, so you guys should be able to see the budget. I don't need to talk about it, but it's based on my time.
Thank you.
So, we hope that you guys would come on board to support the community with us, as you guys are active members of the community.
Thank you, James. Obviously, we'll be looking at this in budget time.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, see the work that your volunteers obviously people working across the road here and other places. So they're doing it, give the volunteers. And we thank you for what you're doing. Not just here, also just a reminder, hydro's been called. The hydro pole in Nashville are all those lines are all the way up to.
Oh, nice.
Again, and they're supposed to be taking those down. So, and it'll be a sign at the bottom saying you can no longer advertise on this hydro pole anymore.
Okay.
Because you guys did planters underneath. And
Yeah.
it's terrible that people hang up these signs up there and they shouldn't be doing it. So
Right.
Hydro's been contacted 3rd time, so they said the last time we spoke to them, Antoine spoke to them about a week ago. And
And
they're,
we're open for options if you feel like the planters aren't, we feel like it was a really good spot when we discussed it and brought them there. But if there is another spot where you guys feel there's planters, last year you'll see that we put another budget of 6 planters back into the community. Planters work well for, quick exposure. And so if there's another place that you would allocate them to, then we're okay with it.
there's no question, you beautify our municipality. That's great. It's from all the we thank all the volunteers and yourselves.
But thank you. I'll make sure that gets passed forward.
I'm sure we have some other questions around the table.
I'm good with budget, like, we'll discuss it in budget.
We lowered the budget because last year Steve said it was too high.
Okay. Well, you've got to receive.
I just said it was gonna be a tough year.
Yeah, I know. And everything across the board, things are starting to curve. Things are starting to come down a bit, but we had a big push at the front end because we have a lot of stuff to buy. We have a lot of growth on the front end. Any business, right? Will grow heavy on the front and it will plateau. Hopefully, we'll be able to continue with the volunteers because that's everyone's biggest concern is getting people to come out work for free. We have, dealer incentive programs maybe or something better that we could work on.
Well, we just want to make sure that the volunteers are taken care of too. Them to pay for a lot of the stuff. It's their time, effort into it, and we greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And again, it's going to go to budget. Our budget's meeting starting in January 26th.
Yeah.
Bring forward at that time with a lot of the other things, but again, with us and you, it does happen.
Knowing the direction, we're gonna try and do more education and get the schools involved and, maybe try and get a different demographic that's trying to come in. Anyone in our demographic we're all volunteering. We're all there already, try and get some of the youth to kind of step up a little bit and learn, educate. That's our new strive, is to educate, so.
Especially at the Senate time when we had Remembrance Day, people were just in awe, all the work that the volunteers do.
Yep.
It just stood out. Look at the Christmas lighting. It's awesome. So thank you to volunteers and thank you. Okay.
Thank you, guys. I see myself up.
And again, I apologize. That's why I was asking earlier, if somebody else wanted to speak, you got to say it at the beginning. Otherwise okay? Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, carry on to committee reports, Public Works and Infrastructure. There's none at this time. Emergency Management Program Committee, minutes from the Emergency Management Program Committee Municipal Control Group joint meeting. I'm gonna go close the door over there. Minutes are here. What was we had a motion to come out of that, didn't we?
We do, yes. So
Yeah,
it
after.
is right after.
Yeah, we did our budget agreement with the town of Chisholm is what the motion's going to be, that we've been doing that for as long as I remember. We got an agreement to use our arena or recreation center as emergency point. So that's always been there. We just have to renew it. Other things we talked about, the new maps for the compliance, Antoine's brought them out. We don't have a copy of them here, do we?
They're not finalized
They're
quite
not
yet.
finalized. Well, the council will get a copy of them. Any other questions from the minutes? Yes, Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, so we talked about the East Bears Community Center being
Bob.
a place where we're gonna gather if something happens, and is there like a hookup for a generator?
That came up and we're looking at a price for budget for 2026.
Oh,
It'll be in the budget in January.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good,
We're looking for there and also at the fire hall, the new fire hall.
right.
And at the Public Works Garage, we're looking at that too also. Yeah. Any other questions?
I only have something to suggest, not a question.
Go ahead.
If you're in for suggestions.
Sure.
And I thought when you attach the maps to your emergency management, there's a few, I noticed last time, we didn't have any dry hydrants placed on them. So when you come out with those maps, so you have all the placement for dry hydrants, you can have sections in there where you're gonna do like your coordinating for different items such as media releases. If there's gonna be, any other positions and titles, if you have different people where you're gonna have certain areas where everybody knows where everything is going to actually be. So then if somebody comes and sits down and asks a question, everything's already laid out on maps and everything.
Yeah, so there are maps that we can draw on.
Yeah, so it's just a suggestion. Right? So anyway, just what I thought when I saw certain things.
Okay. Did you run this by the chief already and talked about at your meetings at all?
Antoine's doing the map.
Antoine didn't.
Yeah, so that's why I just said suggestions, Rick. That's all. So you can pass it on if you like it. If you don't pass it.
All right. Any other questions on this item? I have so many things open here. I had the same problem as Councillor Brazo. Couldn't open nothing till yesterday at home. It wouldn't open. And all of a sudden I opened it here, then I went back home and opened again. I don't want to lose everything.
Was eScribe down for the weekend?
It was.
Our server was down. So if our server, like anytime, and we'll put this out there right now, that you can't get on your app, you can go right on our website and get the agenda.
That's where I got it.
Yeah.
Then you don't have the motions and you don't have the attachments. You can't open them.
Attachments you can,
Can, but not the motions.
because they're typed in within the app.
Yeah.
So, but there's only really. Most of the resolutions are pretty self-explanatory. If you're approving a report from staff, well, the resolution mimics the recommendation that. There's only going to be a few that you're not quite sure, right?
Okay. All right, B1 resolution arising from the minutes. Can you move over in a seconder, please?
Whereas the municipality of East Ferris and the township of Chisholm hold an agreement to establish the framework for the use of the East Ferris Community Center as the township of Chisholm's secondary emergency operations center. And whereas the agreement was originally signed in 2014 by both municipalities, and whereas the provisions of the agreement have not changed, therefore be it resolved that the council for the municipality of East Ferris concurs that the agreement shall remain in place until one of the parties terminates the agreement as per the termination clause. And further, that the Community Emergency Program Committee be directed to review this agreement on an annual basis.
Any other discussion on this motion? Favors read. Agreed. Next item is informational report to council, emergency management annual review. There was just one change on there that we did today that we added the mayor to it. Key emergency management personnel. It's not on the one you have, but, oh yes, it is.
Yep.
I think again, it's on again.
It was changed.
It was changed, okay. See, I'm on the old one. Apologize for that. EMPC met on January 22nd, 2025 and July 22nd, 2025. Being results in purchase of 2 emergency preparedness roadside billboard signs. These 2 signs will be erected by Public Works in spring of 2026. Hazard identification risks, critical infrastructure, municipal emergency plan. It's all on there if you want to take a look at it. Municipal Emergency Control Group, MEG. I guess it's MEG. Is it MEG you call it? MECG. Yeah. And
You,
then,
Mr. Mayor, if I may, just for council's information, this is part of compliance for our emergency management program committee. So if we don't submit this report, then we wouldn't be in compliance for the 2025 year.
It's a summary of what was done for the year.
Yes.
and correct me if I'm wrong, there was not many changes we did. Was there?
No, any changes to the actual emergency plan were very minor in nature and administrative. They did not require come back to council for amendment.
Mayor Rochford had started it.
We requested some monies to also work off getting some grant money and picked up some small handheld items and whatnot to add to the kit, right? So.
Yeah, the kits get updated.
There's 2 grants. So there's the fire protection grant that's annual, which we get money, but we've not received emergency management preparedness grant money. It's the 3rd time we've applied, correct?
Yes.
And we're gonna find out in February. So we're hopeful that we finally get some money.
3 times the charm.
Well, if I had to guess, I think what they're doing is they're divvying up the money on an annual basis. There's only so much money to go around. And if you got it in year 1, you're not gonna get it in year 2 or 3. And you didn't get it in year 2, you could probably get it in year 3.
Makes sense.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But
Hopefully.
it's supposed to be announced in February.
Yeah.
Whether we got the money.
Anyway, it's there just for information, unless you have any questions. See none.
We will pass a resolution.
Yeah, there was a resolution.
Accept it, yeah.
Okay. Can you move her in a seconder, please?
That Council of the Municipality of East Ferris accepts the annual informational report from the Emergency Management Program Committee as presented.
Any discussion on the motion? Favors read. Carried. C, Fire and Emergency Service Committee. None at this time. D, Planning Advisory Committee, minutes from December 3rd, 2025. The curtain, sir. do we? Do you have any questions for or just a motion?
We do have a motion.
Okay.
Brenda, seconder, please. Whereas the landowners of the lands described as part lot 14, concession 13, reference plan number NR 83, part 1, parcel 491830701 have requested approval for a temporary use bylaw under section 34 and 39 of the Planning Act in order to temporarily permit one model home on the corner of Centennial Crescent and Highway 17 on that property for a period up to 3 years. And whereas the application is consistent with the provincial planning statement 2024, and whereas the application is in conformity with the policies contained within the official plan for the municipality, therefore be it resolved that the application for a temporary use bylaw be approved by the council of the municipality of East Ferris.
Just a question, is that the right address? 0 Centennial Crescent?
Yeah, so typically 0 is the default placeholder if a municipal address hasn't been assigned yet. So this is the property at the corner, at Corbeil Corners. But after the severance with the animal hospital, an address was assigned to the animal hospital property. But the one on the south side of the animal hospital is still vacant, so it's just placeholder with 0.
Any other discussion on the motion?
I just had a question. Now, and it could have come up before I was here. Would this not come up before they put the house there?
It's a good question.
You know what I?
Oh, no. Yeah, so something that happened here, there was a bit of a change of plans throughout the process. So initially they had looked at putting the model home there as an advertisement more than an actual functioning building. And then partway through the process, they decided they wanted to actually have it be like a temporary office space, somewhere with functioning services, so running water that they could bring people in and show. And then when it came to that, it was no longer just a kind of very short-term advertising thing. When you're installing a septic system, you're looking at a bit of a longer-term installation, right? So there's quite a few reasons why they chose to do a temporary use bylaw. But the main one being that the underlying zoning for this property has a holding zone on it. And so a holding zone is basically a land use planning mechanism that allows you to establish general use parameters, but put conditions on actually being able to use the land for that. So in this case, the MTO had a bunch of concerns about, well, not concerns, but a bunch of requirements about a traffic study, a stormwater management study, all the kind of things that they typically require for development on their highway corridors. In this case, the applicant is doing a lot of background work for a larger project in the future on this site. There's a bunch of reasons why they're not quite ready to go with that yet. But in the meantime, they want to make some use of the property while they do this background planning. So a temporary use bylaw is basically a tool that allows the municipality to authorize something for a short-term basis. So in this case, 3 years, which is the maximum that the Planning Act allows. And so so you can say, which is what this bylaw would say is, okay, you can do this for 3 years. You can have your septic system, you can hook up to services, you can use it in this temporary way. Then whenever they actually want to do their long-term commercial development, they'll need to come back to council to do the holding zone thing, which is separate, and that'll require them to do their studies with the MTO. And so this is basically a way for them to delay their studies with the MTO and still be able to make some use of the land while they are able to get their ducks in their row for their formal development.
Okay, any other discussions? Deputy Mayor?
From our conversation at the Committee of Adjustments is that they can renew it 3 times, was it? Or
Yeah, so there's no set limit in the Planning Act on how many renewals they can ask for. They can come back to council. They do have to come back to council every time they want to renew, and council can theoretically do that as many times as they want. But when I brought up the 3 years at Planning Committee, that was more a reference to a series of Ontario Municipal Board decisions and then LPAT and now Ontario Land Tribunal. But a lot of this was established when the OMB was the provincial tribunal. But the worry is that someone applies for a temporary use bylaw, then every 3 years they come back and they ask for renewal. and then it's not really a temporary use anymore because they're getting a renewal every 3 years, right? So the kind of the case law that's been tested on this has generally found that once you get to about your third renewal, the provincial tribunals will generally just like throw it out. They'll disregard that as not a temporary use any longer. That generally comes into play when either a developer is dragging their feet on proceeding with their actual development, or the municipality just no longer wants that use there, and then they'll either not authorize a renewal and there's an appeal, or in some way it ends up at a tribunal. But yeah, by the third renewal, that's when provincial tribunals have generally stepped in and said, okay, now you're just a permanent use, kind of masquerading as a temporary use.
Okay.
Does the bylaws move forward after?
Bylaw will come to the next meeting, yeah.
Is it gonna speak to roads?
That's all in the planning act. There's no need for it to speak to it.
So when it comes back for renewal, there's a cost in there, right? Every time?
Getting at is I think we should be firm up front whether council wants renewals or not.
Before the motion.
We can look into it. My understanding is that council doesn't have the jurisdiction to limit that because it comes from the planning act, but we can definitely look into it for a report for next meeting.
That's kind of what I'm getting at, is that if council is prepared up to 3 years, it's expected on the developer side, maybe 9 years.
Well, it's expected that after 3 years, they have to reapply, and then council will be able to make a decision at that time. They are aware. The 9 years thing came up because it was a hypothetical question at planning committee as to what happens if they ask for renewal in 3 years and are granted it, and then again and again. And that's where I was kind of speaking to the background as to if it does keep getting authorized, at what point does it generally get deemed at a provincial level to not be temporary anymore? But yeah, they're required. So the way it's structured is that every time they apply for renewal, it goes through the full planning process. So they apply and we circulate to all the neighbors, and we bring it to planning committee, and then we bring it to council. So the exact same process that it's following now, it will follow in 3 years' time if they do choose to proceed with the renewal.
The reason I had asked and I had interrupted was the way you explained it. I thought renewals were automatic, was not something we could do about it.
No, sorry, that wasn't the intention. The renewal triggers, when 3 years is done, they have two choices. They can either cease to operate that use or apply for another temporary use bylaw or some other land use permission that allows them to go forward. But there's no automatic renewals.
So I think in the bylaw that comes forward to council, should be added that we're not chasing them at the 3-year mark for them to renew. To them to go through the process, get it in before the bylaw expires. Because I can just see it going to an expiry and then they're trying to get a renewal done, right?
Yeah.
It's on us to remind anybody that time is up.
No, so we can discuss this in depth when the bylaw comes in January. There are a couple of other clauses in the bylaw. The draft bylaw is prepared, and the draft bylaw was part of the planning committee agenda, and it should be in the minutes as well. But there's a clause in there also about remediation. So it's typical practice for municipalities to take a small security on temporary use bylaws, so that if an applicant doesn't put things back to the original state, the municipality can. In most cases, it usually ranges between about $5,000 and $10,000 because they're usually uses that don't have a significant amount of infrastructure. In this case, there's a septic system. That's basically it. There are a series of piers that the actual building is on. But if there was ever a situation where the applicant did not receive an extension and they did not remove it, we'd have that $5,000 security to pull out the septic system and remove the building if required.
First of all, Councillor Trahan has his hand up.
Actually, he actually answered my question.
Okay, Deputy Mayor.
Wouldn't it cost a lot more than $5,000 to $10,000 to take away a house?
Yes.
And
I think it should be a lot more than 5,000. But
Is there a well too, or?
There's a lot.
Oh, yeah.
it seems like a lot of money to spend for something that may only last 3 years. But
I'll make an assumption. That model home may sell. They may put another model home there in its place.
then that's not a temporary use.
It is because it's a temporary building. Because it's get moved and sold, bring another one in, like the same thing they do in
Oh,
To that location, to another location, bring another one in. To me, that would make sense because then after 3 years, it's defunct anyway, so.
But big builders next to that though. One up.
Yeah, they sold it,
Been there for.
no, Rod Kuchar bought it. There was two.
Right, but they closed the one down, right? So, but the original one still stands. It's not this.
It's not on temporary though. It's on.
Is it? Okay.
Yes.
So a couple more comments I'll just add quickly. When it comes to the well, there's no regulations preventing a well on a property, so I'm not particularly concerned about that. Pulling out a septic system, I mean, it's a lot cheaper to pull it out than it is to install it. Whether or not we cover our full costs, we could run some numbers if that's something council wants to see. It's not a situation that I'm particularly, I guess, concerned that we'll be dealing with, but of course we'll need to cover our basis. The final point that I didn't touch on was the MTO. So the reason why we have the holding zone on the commercial zoning that's on the property in the first place is because the MTO wanted to ensure that they were able to get the studies done when they required them. The MTO submitted a letter on this application through the Planning Advisory Committee, and the MTO doesn't have any concerns with this bylaw application. So to me, that that says a lot about where the MTO stands on what studies they're looking at. But if council has any further questions that you'd like me to find information on before the January meeting, I'd be happy to do some digging.
As long as the builder knows what he's getting into, that's all, you know. And I kind of agree with our CEO. Is the cost enough for what we're charging? So maybe get some answers first, because we've got a fees and bylaw changing today anyway, right? Our fees bylaws are changing today, some of the fees.
So, sorry, about the application.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions for Greg? Okay, we have a motion.
My only thing I'll mention is there is no draft bylaw with these minutes. I mean, like you had mentioned there with the minutes, but there's nothing with the minutes that's a draft bylaw. My only concern is you say like, this is an application for a temporary use bylaw. So if the temporary use bylaw comes to council and council doesn't like it, I don't want council to have voted tonight to agree to a draft bylaw when they're not seeing the draft bylaw. So when you say application for a temporary use bylaw, that's what they're approving this evening is the application. They're not approving that draft bylaw yet. Nobody's seen the draft bylaw.
Draft bylaw was attached as a schedule to my planning report with the
Yeah, so
application, but it may not have made the minutes. I guess the reports don't typically form part of it.
No, they don't.
That's right.
Typically.
Okay, clear as mud. You're right.
So one thing I guess I could say is that it's typical that we brought the resolution to the first meeting and bylaw to the second, but many municipalities and us in many cases have brought both at the same meeting. So we could delay passing the resolution tonight and then bring both the bylaw and the resolution to the same meeting in January.
my only concern is that people aren't expecting that if council says yes tonight, that they said yes to a bylaw they haven't read yet. And then the bylaw comes and they don't like it, and we're told, well, it was approved at the planning committee, you passed that resolution to approve it.
Mhm.
Council caught.
No, I can appreciate that.
So I mean, if we reword the resolution maybe and pass it to know that it's authorizing staff to bring forward the temporary use bylaw or something like that for the next meeting. But the word application for a temporary use bylaw, I mean, to me, council's approving the developer that applied for a temporary use. We're not approving the bylaw yet.
Can we defer it? Should we do it?
I'm not sure we need to. I'm just more worried that this is a first time thing for council, right? A temporary use bylaw in our time.
We haven't done one since I've been with the municipality. They're relatively uncommon planning.
Right. So I don't want the expectation that council said yes to it tonight and that it's only housekeeping at the next meeting and council doesn't like the bylaw.
Mhm.
Doesn't like, if at the planning stage it was 5,000 of security, are we able to change it now in a bylaw at the next meeting? Let's not get our hands tied in this, right? That's my only thoughts for council.
What are we asking for Greg to do a report?
No,
Okay.
the bylaw it'll be self-explanatory. I just
What
want to
the
make
amount,
sure.
I'm talking about the amount.
Yeah, like as long as the wording isn't that what was discussed at planning is a go ahead after tonight, I guess is my thoughts.
Okay, so what if we say
Oh, you do that?
So at the last sentence, be it resolved that the application for a temporary use bylaw be approved upon the adoption of the temporary use bylaw.
Or even that the application for temporary use bylaw be approved by council and that a bylaw be brought forward to the next regular meeting for approval or something. Like, to me, the word, it was kind of confusing whether council was approving the application as if there's an application from that they want a temporary use bylaw, and then the bylaw comes forward at the next meeting, you're approving that bylaw.
Yeah.
I just don't want it to be that someone gets tripped up and what was talked about on planning is going ahead, whether council likes it or not. That's what I'm kind of worried about, only because it's new, right?
And I'm not sure because I wasn't I'm not on planning, so I wouldn't mind. It was what was said. I just, after thinking here a little bit, I know that some of the residents were asking and they were wondering if that was municipal lands. And it's not municipal lands and just to kind of, so some of the people that are watching right now, so that is a spec home. It's on private land that somebody else owns. Yeah.
Modular home, yeah.
Modular home, correct. And because they were wondering, some of the residents were wondering if there was going to be like a subdivision back through there.
No. So I can say that land zoning on the land is commercial and that will be the long-term intention. The confusion with municipal land may be that there is a piece of provincially owned land. So the MTO has a piece of land on the site map. Property, it intersects the property in a strange way. And this was spoken about at the planning committee, actually. The applicant is seeking to purchase that land to kind of consolidate a more regular shaped parcel. And that's a big reason why they're not ready to go with their long-term development yet, is because they're working through that MTO purchase process. So that's been discussed.
But again, it's 3 years saves us anyway, and then he could turn around and do it. He could do what they want. They could put a commercial piece of property or a commercial building up at a later date, still use the well and septic that's there.
Well, that's the hope. The hope is that they'll develop it for their permanent commercial use sooner rather than later.
Well, we'll just cover, like, I agree with CEO and yourself that we do change the motion and bring it back to the next meeting. Yeah. Are we happy with who was the mover?
Councillor Brazo and Councillor Trahan.
Are you happy with the friendly amendment?
I didn't hear it.
You're gonna read it out, but has to be agreed. You'll have to make sure you're okay with it.
If you.
Would you like me to read the entire resolution again?
Sure.
So whereas the landowners of the lands described as part lot 14, concession 13, reference plan NR 83, part 1, parcel 491830701, have requested approval for a temporary use bylaw under section 34 and 39 of the Planning Act in order to temporarily permit one model home on the corner of Centennial Crescent and the Highway 17 property for a period of up to 3 years. And whereas the application is consistent with the provincial planning statement 2024, and whereas the application is in conformity with the policies contained within the official plan for the municipality, therefore be it resolved that the application for a temporary use bylaw be approved and that the bylaw be brought forward at the next regular meeting of council.
Are we good with the amendment?
Yeah, I guess so.
Good, okay. Any discussion on the motion? Favors read. Carried. Thank you. Committee of Adjustments. Minutes from December 3rd, 2025. There's no motion, is there? No. Any discussion on this at all? Okay. I'm gonna go pages back up again. Thank you, Greg, by the way. Parks and Rec, any thing to report? Not at this time. Striking Committee, none at this time. Board report, Library Board, draft minutes from December 1st, 2025. Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, so we're finishing up the last 5 policies, so we'll have all of our policies and procedures reviewed this year.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's been a lot of work. So they've really put a lot of effort into it. The CEO, the chair, and also one of the committee members or board members. Yeah, our CEO evaluation is complete, and so that has been done. Programming, we're having a fundraiser. So there is a wooden Canadian flag and a smaller version, and also framed Minecraft poster. So the money is going towards the East Ferris snack and school cupboard program and the youth program for the library. So that, if you go on the website, there is a website for the auction for those items. So they're going to a good cause. The library is constantly surveying the community to make sure that they're meeting their needs, the community needs, and so they have mini polls. So every time you go on the website, you will have a mini poll. So friendly staff and welcoming environment are the big things why people want to go to the library. Volunteer portable, very successful, and we just had a volunteer tea at the library and had all the volunteers there and to celebrate them. So it was really nice. Library things, great things for winter activities, and we are getting ready for budget. So that's we'll have a presentation for budget.
No, again, great work to the library and the staff. They do an excellent job. I was in there the other day again, and yeah, we're second to none. I mentioned that in the mayor's corner. But no, thank you for the report. Any thing for Deputy Mayor Roy Akers? No? Okay. OPP, next one is OPP Detachment Board, draft minute from November 27th. There was a few items, I'm not the chair, but I can speak on some of the things we talked about. The board discussion of opportunity for community outreach. There was a discussion that maybe like getting the Club Action Fund, because they do a lot of stuff on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. It might be an opportunity for an outreach program from the OPP to come out and have a discussion, especially for seniors. I know senior busters are big in North Bay, but out here we don't really have too much. And it's an opportunity to come to the, we have funding set aside for that through the OPP. And I think it would be a great idea. And the other one is thanks to our secretary, we now have our logo that combines the Chisholm, East Ferris and Bonfield as part of the logo. And we're looking at doing a coin to give out for certain, how would I put it? The outstanding work or outstanding volunteer, and that instead of, you can give a card or you can give something else. It's nice to have a coin with the logo on it that you can actually keep as a keepsake. So it's all part of the budget anyway, but I think it's a great idea that was brought through by Chief Kramer, yeah.
Chief?
Yeah, well, he is.
I think it's chief.
Well, he's acting chief. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Detachment commander.
Yeah, detachment commander.
There you go. And it's a challenge coin.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for that. Any other questions? Yes.
I think we talked at Public Works last year about getting the plastic signs redone. And I wonder, and it was it mentioned the slow down ones for East Ferris. And it was mentioned to mention it to this committee, and we have sort of fallen off the table. So I wonder about a promotion that this is a new Lake Nosbonsing and it's for everybody, because I was talking to people from Chisholm and from Bonfield, and everybody wants people to slow down, so.
Yeah, well, our signs up in Bonfield and Chisholm, that's what you're talking about, getting more made or just
Made.
Get more made, because I think they're fading and breaking and things like that, so.
You never meet up in January, I believe, right? Well, and let's see what our budget too, see what's available.
Yeah.
Just combine all three.
That's right.
The biggest even is Bonfield and Chisholm.
Right. So I just noticed that, like, while you were talking about budget, that was something that we had talked about last year.
Oh, that's a fair question.
Yeah.
Any other questions about the OBP? No. We're gonna have a report coming soon there and exactly the accidents, and I think we've only had one fatality. I think it was in Bonfield, but nothing in East Ferris. So we'll have a report and it'll come to you in the package.
I've been talking to people about not feeding deer from the last presentation. Had that discussion again today, so.
All right. Right, let's go to the ABCs. The first one is North Bay Parry Sound District Health Unit. It's in the package. I've already talked about this already. What happens, those are the September meeting or meeting that's coming now. And it gets passed at our November meeting, so we don't get a copy of it till now. So our November meeting that we had, you won't get a copy of it now until January or February now. So we're always 3 months behind. The next one is District Nipissing Social Services. Councillor Kelly is not here this evening, but just I kind of had a little bit of a freak out the other day when I looked at calendar saying no to the $1.5 million for childcare. I'm sitting there, the DSAB supplied the money, and I found out it's not our DSAB, it's Parry Sound DSAB. Because we've asked for funding and we got turned down and said, okay, calendar's getting it, why are they returning it and we can't get it? Just found out it's Parry Sound, so. Which is interesting. So we're still trying. We're still in the process, talking with the Y and.
But important.
Yep, it is. It's at the top. Parry Sound District Health Unit, we talked, District North Bay Mattawa Conservation Authority.
We're supposed to have a meeting tomorrow. It has been delayed till the 17th because we want to review budget. Supposed to have a meeting December 3rd about the consolidation of conservation authorities. And I put out a reminder saying, are we meeting? And it was told that other meetings were going on that day and it would be deferred. And when we haven't heard of the deferral date. So, yeah, it continues. The low water level, the good news is that the low water level, we were at a 2, we are now at a 1. So we are still not out of the woods, but that is, but people have been concerned about their well levels. So that will improve and hopefully get better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else for Deputy Mayor Roy Akers? All right. Department reports. Appointment of the Integrity Commissioner. Kim, you've got the floor.
So Council, the report in front of you is for the appointment of an Integrity Commissioner. As you may recall, our current Integrity Commissioner, David King, has advised that he will be retiring at the end of this year. We did put out as a municipality an RFP and we received 3 submissions for the job. In front of you is the recommended course of action, which would be to accept David Bogosian LLP. Both Jason and I reviewed all 3 submissions and used a point tracking system to score them. We added our scores together and took an average, and this person in the recommendation he came out on top above the other 2. So if you have any questions regarding what is in the report, you're welcome to ask myself or our CAO.
Are they local?
No,
They're all from out of town?
2 of them are out of Toronto and one was out of
Sault Ste.
Marie.
Okay. Any questions for Kim?
We invited around 6 or 7
7.
integrity commissioner firms or firms that offer the services. We received 3.
Okay, we have a motion.
Do. And a second. Be it resolved that Council for the Municipality of East Ferris accepts the recommendation of the clerk to appoint David Bogosian of Bogosian and Allen LLP for the role of Integrity Commissioner, and that council authorizes staff to prepare an agreement and bylaw to be presented the next regular meeting of council.
Any other discussion on the motion? Favor is read. Carried. No motions at this time. Bylaws. This bylaw A, 2025-53rd reading.
Well, this is a fees and charges bylaw. We did first and second reading 2 meetings ago. We're back tonight for the third reading. I will let council know that there was one change that we made to the bylaw since it was first looked at by council. We added a film permit fee of $75. There was no film permit fee in our bylaw previously. So it would be part of Schedule F planning services. It's the last line on that page, which is page 11 of the 13-page document. Film permit fee, $75. What we've done in the past, just for council's information, is we did have a film policy that we spoke to neighboring municipalities, and we all want to kind of be treating film companies the same. So a lot of it was based on what North Bay had come forward with and what was on their website. So in the future, we are looking at making some amendments to the actual policy on how we deal with film companies. But we thought it best, at least now, versus coming back with an amendment to this bylaw in the future, that we include this fee in the bylaw. Now, it's not something we deal with often, film companies. But there's a fee for it when we do.
It has. Yeah, I think we had some.
We've had some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think it's good because when they come in, they utilize our services, the stores around here and everything else. So it's they generate money within our municipalities.
We've generated revenue as well. We had rentals at the arena for them because they were using the upstairs hall as their kitchen. So they'd have meals catered there and that. There was rentals for us.
yeah, with the local caterers. So it's been good so far.
Yeah.
All the other ones are looked through, like the one you noticed the most, is the one for the building department, the building fees. It's, the one went up quite a bit, which is group 1C, residential occupancy, single family dwelling. We're still in, if you look at other municipalities around, we're right there with them. It was time that we change it and we could recoup some of our cost. Is there any other items that you guys looked at, your gentlemen, ladies, that looked at? If any changes you want to see as far as the fees bylaw? Thank the staff, the management staff for taking a look at this, putting this all together. Jason, you've read it 3 or 4 times now, and I think everybody's happy with it. Is there any changes that should be done now? If not, you have to adopt it.
Brenda, seconder, please. Whereas council for the municipality of East Ferris deems it expedient to pass the final reading of the following bylaw at this session. Be it hereby resolved that a bylaw with respect to the establishment and requirement of payment of fees for information, services, activities, and the use of the corporation's property be read a first, second, and third time, passed and numbered 2025-50. I'm just going to amend that to be read a third and final time, passed and numbered 2025-50. And that said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation.
Any discussion on the motion? Favors read. Carried. The next item, bylaw 2025-54, first, second, and third reading.
Yeah, thank you.
Need a mover and a seconder, and we'll go to the floor.
Whereas council for the municipality of East Ferris deems it expedient to pass the final reading of the following bylaw at this session, be it hereby resolved that a bylaw to authorize an agreement between the corporation of the municipality of East Ferris and His Majesty the King in Right of Ontario, as represented by the Minister of Sport, be read a first, second, and third time, passed in number 2025-54. And that said bylaw be signed by the mayor and the clerk and sealed with the seal of the corporation.
Mr. Trotzy.
Yeah, this is an agreement, as the clerk said, with the Ministry of Sport. These are funds for elevator of the community center. So the funds were already announced, but since they were announced up until today, it took that long to get an agreement for the funding. So we've got to pass it by council and provide it to the ministry.
Okay, any discussions? Okay, favors read. Gary, thank you. Correspondence. Deputy Mayor.
We forgot one announcement, which was the Christmas party. And did we say the Christmas party?
No, I didn't.
So I forgot about that. So
Yeah.
Christmas party was well run. And, you know, and thanked all of our volunteers and committee members. So I forgot about that. So
No, you're 100%. I should have mentioned at the beginning, but I think got a little screwed at the beginning. But things will be changed. Hopefully we do a little bit of a change next year. We still like do for the volunteers for dinner, and there's been some stuff thrown out there, maybe like yucks or something like that. Get people engaged instead of having a dance and a DJ. I think a dinner and something like that would probably be, anyway, we'll discuss that at budget time, but it was very well attended and everybody had fun. The dinner was great. Nice to see Jenny Esch, and right now Murray and Diane Catering, and still called Murray and Diane's Catering. We did an excellent job again. It's nice to see that they're still involved in their community. No, you're right. I apologize for that. I should have said something at the beginning.
I had it written down and I don't know why I didn't say it. So anyways, start off with 13H, East Ferris Winter Carnival.
Okay.
Recognizing it as a municipality. That's an event.
Yeah, we do that every year and for the liquor license and that. And me?
Thought I'm out.
Yeah. Well, at least they did it ahead of time. I think it was 1 year. Somebody forgot about it and we're scrambling at the end for the liquor license. Okay, anything else?
Do we rotate?
Well, let's try this way.
Okay, because I wouldn't mind understanding the impact of A, which is the Ministry of Affairs, Bill 17, on planning, if there's anything relevant to East Ferris. I don't know if somebody could find that, somebody I know. And then H would be MPAC, or I would be MPAC. And if there's
We had a raise. It went up about $4,000.
Right.
3,300.
Yeah,
And there's nothing we can do.
yeah, it's one of those levies. So I thought, since it's on there, just to say it's like the DSAB and everything.
So basically how Empire figures their budget, pretend there's $100 million budget. There's $100 million of assessment in Ontario, divide out the two, it's $1 per buck. If we've got 50,000 assessment here, our bill's 50,000. It's just divvied out. It doesn't, it's not more because we're Northern Ontario, less in the south and all that. They just take budget divided by assessment or weighted assessment, and that's the figure. So we're up this year. It goes up 2,000 to 3,000 usually per year. 3,300 for 2026.
Okay, sorry. Mr. Curtin.
First, with regards to this one, I guess the short answer is it doesn't impact us, but I'll give a bit of background on what it is. So the minister put out this notice, or the intent of the scheme is to basically give a bit of flexibility to certain parts of the land where setbacks or other zoning standards can be an issue. So essentially it's granting an as of right 10% variance. The thing is, over the past 3 years or so, the government has been drawing a distinction between what they're calling urban residential land and then other kind of rural lands. So this is a similar scenario. So they basically define an urban service parcel of land as something that is on municipal services and within a settlement boundary area. So given that 99% of East Ferris is on private services, we get left out of all of these changes that are happening. So it very much is geared to more urban areas. But what they were finding was, especially with second units, they were finding that there were a lot of scenarios where basement apartments didn't quite meet side yard setbacks or things like that. And so in an effort to try to streamline housing approvals, they're basically saying that municipalities have to approve it as of right if they're within 10% of required setback. So say the required setback is 10 meters and they're 9.1 meters away, they're within that 10 meter margin of error. So the building department would have to say, yes, you can have your permit regardless of zoning because you're within that 10% kind of error window. But again, doesn't apply to East Ferris because we're not considered urban service land.
So that's what they meant by the new authority was intended to reduce planning application for minor variances.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, we talked about impact, we got our old Z class, they went up 11%, so that's coming up at budget, so.
It's not, we received information late Friday. It was after hours. I'm not sure if you recall in prior response from BP that the max anybody will go up is 11%, over 11%. We talked to another surrounding municipality around us, Patton Tanner, 11%. So I think a lot of municipalities are hitting at 11, because remember last year, we're supposed to go up 100 and some thousand.
Right.
And then we got subsidized, right? So our increase should have been 109,000, and it's gonna be just under 1,000. So not quite a point, but we're getting close to a percent of budget, right?
Right.
So we're going up to $663,000 is what OPP is gonna be. All that document will be on the next agenda for council, but I thought the mayor's brought it up, we might as well share it.
I also say 664 because it's 63,888.
Yeah, $664,000. Yeah.
And I remember I first got on council in 97, looked it up and it was 218,000. That's welcome to life.
Yeah. It should have been 700 and some, so we got a deal.
We get back every year though. We get something back every year.
Yeah, so what happens, and we didn't budget the exact increase last year because every quarter we get back funds that are applied to our monthly bills for any detachment revenues that they may collect. So in any given year, there's somewhere between about, I think it's around $70,000 that we get back. So if you net it, it's not quite 64,000 increase this year,
All right. Councilor Tran,
No, I'm good, thanks.
you good? Councilor Brazo?
but I'm okay.
Well, a lot of stuff here from Phenom, but Terry's on top of it. Media releases, request for Highway 1117 phase, the 2-for-1 program, the 2+1 program, the road is, they still haven't started. They've been guaranteeing this is gonna happen. And talking to the MTO, they're saying it's probably 5 or 6 years before you can see it being close to happening. So all the excitement about the 2+1 is really not there. Everything's getting funded right now for the Ring of Fire. Environmental issues, all that stuff right now, we're trying to get stuff for septic programs. The environment, they're basically told everything's on hold right now until the Ring of Fire is completed. All staff is all engaged in that right now. Which is something maybe we talk about it, Roma. Forget the little people while we're here.
Right.
Well, in fact, we talked about it. So anything else? I guess go ahead.
You have to pass the resolution for the carnival?
Yep. Yeah, we have a motion. Yep. Just to make sure that nobody else has any more correspondence.
It's the one?
Go on.
Okay, I'll move her in a second. That council for the municipality of East Ferris has no objection to the East Ferris Carnival Committee hosting the 2026 Winter Carnival from February 12th to February 15th, 2026. And further, that council declares this a municipally significant event and has no objections to the applications for appropriate licenses.
Any discussion on the motions? Favors read, carried. Action, approval of correspondence for information circulated with the agenda. Over in a seconder, please.
Pick. That council approve the correspondence and information as circulated with the agenda of December 9th, 2025.
Any discussion on the motion? Favors read, carried. Approval of accounts payable. Need a mover and a seconder, please.
That council approve the general accounts for the municipality of East Ferris as indicated in the check register dated December 9th, 2025, in the amount of $400,810.35.
Discussion on the motion. Favor is read, carried. Other business, none at this time. In camera.
Do you have an in-camera session? Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? That this meeting proceeds to in-camera session at 6:15 PM. Under section 239(2) of Municipal Act 2001, SO 2001, Chapter 25, in order to address a matter pertaining to the potential sale and related negotiations of our surplus pumper fire truck.
Discussion on the motion. Favor is read. In camera we go.